My husband's betrayal uncovered. Can this marriage be saved? Hey everyone, I need to get this off my chest. I'm still reeling, honestly. Imagine your entire worldview shattering in a single moment. That's where I am right now. You think you know someone, you build a life with them, and then bam, the rug gets pulled out from under you. This is my story. I'm Ava, a 29-year-old stay-at-home mom, and until recently, I thought I had a pretty decent life. I lived in a cozy house, a beautiful house I inherited from my grandma. This wasn't just any house. It was a piece of my childhood, overflowing with precious memories of baking cookies with grandma and playing hide and seek within its spacious walls. Now, it's home to my own little family. My husband, Mark, a hard-working manager, and our precious 2-year-old daughter, Lily. Life sounded picture perfect. Right? Wrong. Our relationship with Mark, let's just say it's been like mixing oil and water for quite some time now. Tensions were always simmering just below the surface. Lily's sweet little voice always manages to cut through the ever-present tension and bring me briefly back to reality. I poured her some juice, glancing at the clock. Almost 5 o'clock p.m. Time for the daily invasion. As if on cue, the front door swings open with unnecessary force. Ava, we're here. Booms Frank, Mark's dad. What's for dinner? Hi, Helen, Frank. I've made a casserole. I respond, trying to keep my voice even, my inner frustrations under a tight lock. Frank scoffs, just a casserole. That's just enough, you know, because they generously grace us with their presence a dinner every single evening, as if they're royalty being served. Helen chimes in, her tone sharp enough to cut class. You're at home all day, Ava. Is it too much to ask for a decent meal? I take a deep breath, fighting the urge to scream. My hands are full with Lily, and cooking for adults every single day is a bit much to ask. The resentment is starting to bubble up inside of me. Suddenly Mark's voice rings out, what's going on here? He looks at me, then at his parents. His expression are unreadable. Can't you just make a bit more, Ava? He asks, seemingly siding with them. My frustration peaks, overflowing and starting to spill out. It's not about the amount, Mark. It's about respect and boundaries. Helen scoffs again. Boundaries, poor family. Mommy, I'm hungry, Lily says, her little voice a welcome distraction. Let's get you seated, sweetie. Dinner is a tense affair. Mark's parents eat the sandwiches they brought, throwing disapproving glances my way the whole time. The TV blares in the background. Lily's fidgeting in her chair, and I'm trying not to crumble under the weight of this daily chaos. This is my house. This is my life. How did I let it come to this? After they finally leave, Mark sits on the sofa, completely absorbed in his phone as if nothing ever happened. We need to talk about this, I say, standing in front of him, desperately needing some form of validation. He doesn't even look up. Not now, Ava. I'm tired. And just like that, I'm left alone in the kitchen cleaning up the mess, both literally and metaphorically. This is my life, a constant battle of wills, with me on one side and the world, or at least my in-laws, on the other. Life has a funny way of testing you, and mine's turning into a daily pop quiz with no right answers. I'm Ava, still juggling motherhood, a marriage that's running on autopilot, and in-laws who mistake my home for a free-for-all restaurant. And the worst thing is, I feel so alone. It's another morning at our house, and I have made a decision. Today, I'm cooking only for 3, me, Mark, and our little Lily. Let's see how this goes. Lily's in her high chair, happily munching on her breakfast. Just like clockwork, the door swings open. Morning, Ava, Frank says with his usual bravado. What's for breakfast? I take a deep breath. Morning, I've only made enough for Lily and me today. Frank's face turns red, slowly turning to a dangerous shade of purple. What do you mean? Are we supposed to starve? No, you're supposed to take care of your own meals. This is ridiculous, Ava. We are family. You can't just... I cut her off, feeling a surge of defiance I didn't know I possessed. I can, and I did. I have enough on my plate with Lily to take care of. Mark comes in, rubbing his eyes, clearly annoyed. Why is everyone shouting so early? He looks at me and at his parents and says, Ava, why are you making things difficult? Difficult. I almost laugh hysterically. Mark, I'm not a 24/7 restaurant. I need help, not more mouths to feed. Mark doesn't say anything. He just grabs a piece of toast and leaves for work, completely deflecting away from the argument. The cowed, the day drags on. I can feel the tension thickening in the air, like a storm brewing on the horizon. Dinner time rolls around, and I have stuck to my guns. Dinner for 3. Helen and Frank show up, each holding a sandwich like rebellious teens. They sit down, unwrapping their food with exaggerated slowness, the smugness in their expression sickening. The TV's volume goes up and up until it's like we're at a rock concert. Lily's rubbing her eyes, clearly struggling to stay awake amidst the noise. Could you turn that down? I ask, my patience wearing thin. Helen retorts, you shouldn't be so uptight, Ava. It's just TV. It's not just TV. It's my home turning into a battleground, and I'm losing. Lily starts to cry, overwhelmed by the volume, and I whisk her away, escape into the quiet of her room. Later, Mark comes home to find his parents still there, the living room a mess, and Lily asleep in my arms. What happened here? He asks, his voice laced with a hint of annoyance. I'm too tired for another round of arguments. Just the usual, I say, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. He doesn't push it, but inside, I feel something shift. I'm at my breaking point, and something's got to give. Every day feels like walking on eggshells in my own house. I'm Ava, still trying to find a balance between being a mom, a wife, and now apparently an unwelcome host to my in-laws. But today, it's not the in-laws that shape my world, it's Mark. It's late evening. Lily's finally asleep after what felt like hours of soothing, and Mark walks into the bedroom, looking like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. Ava, we need to talk, he says, avoiding eye contact. I sit down on the edge of the bed, bracing myself for whatever's coming. What is it? He takes a deep breath, finally meeting my gaze, and utters the words that would change everything. I made a mistake with our finances. I invested in something, and it didn't pan out. I feel a chill run down my spine. What do you mean? How bad is it? He sighs. It's bad. Really bad. I've lost like 100,000. My heart stops. How could you do that without telling me? The question comes out as a hoarse whisper. I thought I could make it big. You know, fix everything, he says, his eyes pleading. Fix what? We were fine. I can barely keep the tremor out of my voice. My hands beginning to shake. He finally looks at me, his eyes pleading. I know, but now we need a plan. A plan, I echo, feeling numb. Yeah, I was thinking. He trails off, his gaze shifting nervously. My mind races, trying to anticipate what he's about to say, and I feel a wave of dread wash over me. His parents in our house full time. The very thought makes me feel like I'm suffocating. Mark, are you serious? After everything with your parents, you want them here in our house all the time? He avoids my eyes. I know it's not ideal, but we don't have many options. I stand up, anger and disbelief swirling inside me. Not ideal. It's a nightmare. Mark, you just decided all of this without even talking to me? He stands too, his voice rising. What was I supposed to do? Ava, I'm trying to fix this. You're making my life a living hell, I shoot back. There's a silence, heavy and suffocating, hanging in the air. Finally, I speak, my voice barely a whisper. Fine, move them in, but this is on you. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about trust. And I'm not sure how we come back from this. The day they moved their belongings into our home, it was like a tidal wave of chaos. The peace of our once tranquil home quickly faded. Frank, put that box in the living room and careful with it. It's delicate. Helen's voice echoes through the hallway as she directs her husband with military precision. Lily clings to me, wide-eyed at the commotion, clearly overstimulated by the events unfolding before her eyes. Then, as if things couldn't possibly get any worse, Helen turns to me, a glint of triumph in her eyes. Ava, we need to talk about rearranging the house. We need space for our things. I feel a knot tighten in my stomach. Rearranging? Helen, there's not much space to work with. She waves her hand dismissively. Nonsense. Let's start with Lily's play area. She can play in her bedroom. I'm taking back the den. She loves it there. Don't make a fuss. The kid won't mind. Ava. Frank carrying a heavy box chimes in. And with that, the onslaught began. Helen and Frank unpacked their belongings, turning the living room into their personal space. They replaced my tasteful decor with their old-fashioned knickknacks, filling every available surface with porcelain dolls and framed family photos. And the TV blares day and night with Helen's favorite shows. I tried to cook dinner one evening, with Lily tugging at my apron, desperate for my attention. Frank strolls in, sniffing the pots on the stove with a critical eye. What's this? Another one of your experimental dishes. I bite my tongue, struggling to maintain my composure. It's a new recipe. Frank, if it's not to your liking, feel free to make something yourself. He laughs, a harsh, dismissive sound. In my day, women knew how to cook for their families properly, not these newfangled meals. I feel a flash of anger ignite within me. Can't we have one peaceful meal for once? Before I can respond, Mark enters the kitchen, drawn by the raised voices. Can't we have some peace? He avoids my gaze, focusing instead on his parents. Helen has opinions on everything, from how I raised Lily to how I should manage the house. Frank, meanwhile, has taken to criticizing my cooking at every meal, finding fault with every dish I prepare. One afternoon, I'm folding laundry when Helen walks in, her expression disapproving. Ava, these sheets aren't folded properly. Let me show you how it's done. I set my jaw, fighting the urge to snap. Thanks, Helen, but I've been folding sheets my whole life. Clearly not the right way. She reaches out and grabs the sheets. I feel a sense of helplessness wash over me. My own home no longer feels like mine. Is now a space of constant criticism and disrespect. Later that night, Lily is asleep, and I sit alone in the living room, surrounded by my in-laws' belongings, feeling like a stranger in my own house. I think back to the days when this house was filled with love and laughter, filled with joy. I felt content and happy. Now this has turned into a never-ending nightmare. It feels like I'm losing a part of myself bit by bit as each day passes. Mark's side of the bed is empty as it has been for several weeks. He's been spending more and more time working late, avoiding me and the chaos at home. In a house that once felt like mine, I'm Ava, now a spectator in my own life, silently watching as it crumbles around me. With my in-laws taking over the space and Mark's growing distance in our home, I'm left grappling with suspicions that refuse to settle in my mind. Something isn't right, and I can feel it in my gut. So I turned to the only person I felt I could turn to and contacted my brother Jake. He's always been the one I turned to in tough times. "Hey Jake," I said, trying to sound casual and breezy. "Ava, how's it going? Haven't heard from you in a while." He's always been perceptive and could sense when I was upset. I took a deep breath. "Not great, Jake. I'm worried about Mark. He's different." Different how? Jake's tone shifts. More serious now. He's always working late, secretive with his phone. And there's this tension, like he's hiding something. I said, trying to be as candid as possible. Jake paused, then said, "You think he's seeing someone else?" The words stung, even though I thought them 1,000 times myself. "I don't know, Jake. I just feel like I'm losing him. I'm losing me." I felt like saying I was no longer wife to be admired, but more like a doormat for my in-laws to walk over. There's a resolve in Jake's voice when he speaks. "Let me do something. I have a friend, a private detective. He can discreetly check on Mark, see what's up." I'm hesitant. A detective? Isn't that a bit much? The idea seemed very extreme. But what other choices did I have? "Ava, if something's wrong, you need to know for you and Lily." "Okay, do it. But Jake, keep it quiet. I don't want to start more trouble if it's nothing." "You got it. I'll take care of it," he assures me. The following weeks were filled with anxiety and phone calls from Jake adding to my growing unease. The nights were sleepless and restless as I wondered what was going on, trying not to jump to conclusions. Then, one evening, Jake called. "Ava, I have some news. Can you meet me tomorrow? Just you." My heart sings. Yes, I can make it. The next day, I sat across from Jake in a quiet cafe, ear thick with anticipation. "So, what did you find out?" My voice was barely above a whisper. Jake hesitated, then handed me an envelope. "Ava, it's not good." I opened it, my hands trembling, to find photos and reports. There's Mark with a woman I don't recognize. He's smiling as he picks up a child at school. My world spins. "He has a child." Jake nodded solemnly. "I'm sorry, Ava." The detective confirmed it. Mark's been living a double life. Tears blur my vision. How could he do this? To Lily, to me, it seemed inconceivable. This was a betrayal that was unbearable. Jake reaches across the table, his hand covering mine. "You're stronger than you know, Ava. We'll figure this out together." Wiping away tears, I sob I need to confront him. He has to explain this. "Be careful, Ava. You don't know how he'll react," Jake expressed. "I have to know, Jake. I have to know why." I was a mess. I needed some reason, any reason, to help me understand the reasoning behind this madness. Armed with the truth, I went home to prepare. A confrontation was inevitable, and I needed to brace myself for the storm that was about to hit. It's the evening of the dinner, and I'm able preparing a meal that I know even my critical mother-in-law can't find fault with. The house is buzzing with a tense energy as I await the arrival of my brother Jake. Tonight is about more than a family dinner. It's about unveiling a painful truth, and I'm ready. As I set the table, I can feel the weight of the envelope in my pocket, heavy with the evidence of Mark's betrayal. My hand shakes slightly, but I steady myself. This needs to be done. The dinner starts off like any other. Mark's parents, Helen and Frank, along with Mark, sit round the table, complimenting the food for a change. I catch Mark's eye, and he gives me a small, oblivious smile. If he only knew. D-I-N-G, Jake arrives apologizing for being late. As he sits down, he says, "So, ever told me about your investment ventures? Sounds interesting." Caught off guard, Mark coughs. "Oh, yeah, it's nothing big." "What kind of investments?" "Real estate," I said, hoping to goad him into a corner. Mark stumbles over his words. "A bit of everything, really." I can see the confusion on Jake's face. Feigned for the others, but all too real for me. "Can you tell me more? I've been looking to invest myself." Mark fumbles, clearly out of his depth. "It's complex stuff, hard to explain over dinner." "Maybe this will help explain." My voice steady, I pull the envelope from my pocket and slide it across the table. Everyone's attention shifts to the envelope. "What's this?" Photos of Mark with another woman and a child. Helen gasps, "Mark, what is this?" Frank looks on, stunned into silence, mouth agape. Mark looks at me, betrayal in his eyes. "Ava, why?" I ignored him. "We have a second family." "Mark, how could you do this to us?" I demanded. "So, you moved your parents into my house, and with the money you received from renting their apartment, you kept your mistress." The floodgates open, and I was no longer holding back. The room is silent, ear thick with tension, with a mixture of horror and disbelief. Helen and Frank look between Mark and the photos, their faces etched with disbelief. Frank just shakes his head, unable to find words. I need to explain, he says. He walks out of the room, and I'm left there with his parents in a deafening silence. The gravity of the accusations weighing heavily in the room. The air in the house is thick with tension the morning after the revelation. I may be still reeling from the shock, but ready to face the consequences. Helen's voice as sharp as a knife cuts through my thoughts. This is your doing, Ava. You drove our son to this. Disbelief and anger mix in my gut. Your son lied to all of us, Helen. I shot back. Frank chimes in, his voice just as accusing. He was always a good boy until he married you. You must have pushed him away. My hands tremble with fury. I pushed him away. I cared for our family while he... Helen cuts me off again. That's why he did what he did. I knew what I had to do. It was time for them to leave my house. I've had enough. How dare you? I've been nothing but loyal and supportive. And you blame me for your son's betrayal. I scream. Frank steps closer, his face red. Our son would never have done this if it weren't for you. I take a step back, my heart pounding. You know what? I don't need to listen to this. This is my house, and I want you out now. Helen scoffs. You can't kick us out, Ava. This is our son's house, too. I stand my ground, firm and unwavering. No, Helen, this house was my grandmother's, and now it's mine. You have no right to be here after what you've said. Frank looks like he wants to argue, but Helen grabs his arm. Let's go. Frank, we don't need to stay where we're not wanted. Once they're gone, I lock the door behind them with a click, the sound echoing in the empty house. Alone in the silence, I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I look around the house, my house, and for the first time in a long while, I see a future where Lily and I can be free from lies and manipulation. I picked up the phone to call a locksmith. It's time to change the locks, to change our lives. The house feels different today, like a new chapter has just begun. I'm Ava, standing in my once troubled living room, the space no longer tarnished by the shadows of betrayal and manipulation. The legal battle is over, and the court's decision still echoes in my mind. I recall my lawyer's words from yesterday. Infidelity he'll be paying for quite some time. I had felt a mix of relief and vindication hearing that. It wasn't about the money, it was about accountability. It was about taking back control of my life and ensuring a secure future for Lily. Lily, oblivious to the complexities of the adult world, plays on the floor, her laughter filling the room with a sense of normalcy and hope. I watch her, thinking about our future free from the toxicity and lies that have plagued our lives for so long. The phone rings, snapping me back to the present. It's Jake. Hey, Ava, how are you holding up? He asks, his voice filled with concern. I smile, a genuine smile for the first time in weeks. I'm okay, Jake. More than okay, actually. We're going to be okay. You deserve peace after all this, Ava, he says, his voice softening. The last I heard, he was struggling to make ends meet, now living with his parents again. It's come full circle. It's ironic. I say to Jake he's back where he started. Jake says he brought it on himself. Ava, you did what you had to do. Mark's choices led him here, and I no longer feel any obligation to worry about him. After the call, I sat with Lily, watching her play, her innocence a stark contrast to the turmoil I had just weathered. The court's decision has given us a financial cushion, providing a sense of security that I hadn't felt in years. Mommy, look. Lily holds up a drawing of our house, her little face beaming with pride. Our home, she says proudly. I hugged her tightly, burying my face in her soft hair. Yes, sweetie, our happy home. I realized that this is just a beginning for us, a beginning filled with hope, strength, and the unwavering love we have for each other. The road ahead is ours to shape, and I feel ready to embrace whatever comes our way with Lily by my side. So, Reddit, I've laid it all out there, knowing everything you know now. Do you think I handled this situation correctly? I'm genuinely interested in hearing your perspectives and advice as I navigate this next chapter of my life. I'm feeling so confused and need outside guidance on whether I did what I had to do, considering how much I was taken advantage of and betrayed by the person I thought would never help me, and the same for the people who are supposed to have my best interest at heart and that are in my family.